start recording. So this would be episode 12. And we kick off with Anatta.
It's a concept in Buddhism. Rhyming.
Major ones.
You need to speak more clearly and confidently, my boy.
It's Anatta, nickname.
It's the
I'll
idea.
toss it back.
What'd you say?
Anan. What do you mean Anan? What? That's not what
Well, I saw you finish it, and I just hit enter prematurely.
it's that, so that, nickname. What do you have to say?
It's a separate word for chakra.
What?
That's what he says.
Hey, according to Wikipedia, it's the principle of non-self. That there is no unchanging permanent self, soul, or essence in human beings.
Despite
Isn't that like the opposite of chakra?
the idea is to spiritually kill yourself anyways.
But how would you go about doing that?
No clue. 25 is a little too big nowadays. Alright. I guess we're starting off with getting rid of that.
Wow. That sucks.
B-Dort.
All I could find about it was this bidigital O-ring test is a form of applied kinesiology. Is a patented alternative medicine diagnostic procedure in which the patient forms an O with his or her fingers, and the diagnostician subjectively evaluates the patient's health according to the patient's finger strength as the diagnostician tries to pry them apart. Look here, it looks like this. Oh, should we be using moving?
That looks like a strange game.
Yeah, about to say, looks like a strange game you'd play with your friends, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know why it's on the Iceberg.
Alright. Algal fuel.
Alright.
Yeah,
Now,
that.
trust me, when I first started the search, I looked for algal fuel conspiracy, and there is none. It's simply a series of articles that detail that algal fuel is very efficient, cheap, and reliable, but, they're not adopting it. Presumably because, it's a conflict of interest. Algae is mass producible just like oil. Well, oil is not produced, but you know what I mean. You can get it in the same quantities if you try hard enough.
Yeah,
But no one wants to do that.
You could like easily cultivate that in a bunch of tanks.
Yeah, and this is opposed to ethanol, which is not a reliable fuel. Because you would need a bunch of Illinois to produce the gasoline, and it just wouldn't work.
Facebook experiments.
I tried so hard to find this one. I can't find anything else. The problem is, I found the fucking post on X of whoever wanted it to be on the iceberg, but they don't explain what it. So, they're like making the iceberg, and someone is like, "Yeah, you should put Facebook experiments on there." And someone was like, "That's a good idea. Yeah, I forgot about that. Put that on." And I'm like, "Well, what is it?"
I guess it's nothing.
I mean, there's gotta be something.
You'd think there would be.
Does that maybe that ties into the Remember a while back how Facebook was an alleged successor to a retired government program for internet personality?
Yeah, I don't
Do you
know.
remember that? Maybe it's relating to that. What was that program called? My Life,
I don't remember.
Life Mind, or something. Like the day after they closed it, Facebook opened. Maybe it's forwarding that Facebook itself is the experiment.
I found.
I wish you'd remembered the name of the government program, because I
Talked about it in a previous episode.
We did.
Yikes. Talking about it on
because
the
there was a
previous
connection
episode.
between Facebook and Google.
I think so. There was also that. Apparently,
Hold on.
someone suggested that they did psychological experiments. Something about
Who owns the Facebook? Who owns? Wait, who owns Google? What was the family's name? The woman.
the
Google just
Wojcicki's, but there was another group associated with it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a season 2 thing, but I'm most certain that that's what they're referring to.
Alright, well then we'll keep it for season 2. Let me go back on my edits and unblack it. Liber? Shooter connections.
Libor or
Libor.
Libra. Not Liber, but
I mean, would it shock anyone? Continue.
Oh, by the way, sorry, damp on Libor, but the program was called Lifelong.
LifeLog.
Yeah.
See, that sounds a lot more ominous than Facebook.
Does it?
Fathers of shooters Adam Lanza and James Holmes. Apparently, some place in Connecticut.
But anyway, Libor shooting connection. Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook. His father was not a drinker. He was I forget his name, but he was an executive with GE Energy Financial Services. And according to the theory, there was a Senate Banking Committee hearing that was scheduled, where he was supposed to testify about the Libor scam on the day of the shooting. So that was sort of the idea that the shooting sort of stopped the hearing from happening.
Oh, here we go. Both James Edkin Holmes, that's the guy who shot up the theater during Dark Knight Rises, and Adam Lanza, Sandy Hook shooter, have fathers connected to big banking in some manner. Both fathers were allegedly set to testify before Congress regarding Libor rate fixing. Stands to reason that these mass shootings were being staged as pretext for stricter gun control laws in America, and making a connection to a huge financial scandal involving Libor interest rate fixing. Scandal believed to involve trillions of dollars.
Yeah, by the way, to those who don't know, Libor is the London Interbank Offered Rate. It's just an average interest rate, like calculated through submissions of interest rates by banks, like all around. So it's sort of like this collective interest rate. And if you're fixing it, that's kind of an issue.
Sounds
Not
plausible
really
to me.
3 mass shooting cases: the Aurora shooting, that's a theater, the 2012 Sikh temple shooting in Wisconsin, I didn't hear about that, and the Sandy Hook elementary shooting in Newton, Connecticut, all have eyewitness accounts of professed multiple shooters or suspicious types. In Aurora and Newtown, there were also conflicting reports about the evidence and the police and fire audio transmissions. In the Aurora shooting, the evidence and the accounts leave a strong case for a team of trained killers to carry out the actual shooting, while leaving a drugged-up James Holmes in a car behind the theater to be taken in as the patsy. Oh, that's a...
Seems very plausible. I mean, we're gonna have a whole season 2 thing for Sandy Hook stuff. I mean, and other banking conspiracies. Fossils.
This is the 5th time this episode that they have mentioned season 2.
I can't wait. It's gonna be the better season, where we get to just sit down.
Promise, guys, there's a season 2. I swear. There's gonna
Season
be a
2 will be
season
interesting.
It's coming.
It's more of the shit I'm into.
2. Yeah,
Where,
I'm sure.
where we get to just like pick one topic and just roll with it for God knows how long.
Can I talk about something weird in the iceberg chart thing?
Well, is it up next? Because we don't look ahead.
Okay.
That's like the only rule I'm going to enforce is that we don't go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's a little back. It's bottom of Karbon.
Okay.
It's 3301337.cf.
Oh, right.
No, that was the webs. The webs.
Yeah, that's like a website we couldn't access.
It's
Oh.
connected to like cicada and shit like that. Apparently.
Oof. Sorry.
No, it's alright.
Anyway, Baph are fossils from the future.
Now, which one are we on?
Are fossils from the future, Baph? Come on.
Oh.
I want to
Okay.
know.
Fossils don't come marked this side up.
They don't.
Nah. Fossils from the future, it's more of a gaslight than a literal statement, because it links to a series of articles written by a couple of doctors in 2016 that they're beginning this list of animals worth protecting in the event of climate change or an extinction event, and they're using fossils to determine what modern animals will be the best candidates.
How are they using fossils?
Well, let's see. It's a long ass article. Let's see. This information is critical for understanding modern conservation efforts because it tells us that specialist species are going to need a lot more help surviving global climate change than generalist species. A generalist species is a creature that can survive on a continent-wide area and requires very little upkeep. That is, and such, cows will be expendable, whereas pigs will be more protected.
Which one are we on again?
Fossils are from the future. Okay.
Well,
Well,
where is that? I'm sorry.
no problem. It's you see the demon-looking guy? It's underneath Karbon. It's in the
and-
tier under Karbon.
Yeah, but where? Oh.
Near the
heck.
middle.
Facebook expert. Oh, there we go. Sorry,
Yeah.
I haven't.
No, you're coming in late. It's
I know. We hardly passed me, which I'm basically just on the top.
I think they used to be Jerry, actually. No, you're under Jerry. Who did we replace with you? I don't even remember. But yeah, Sinaticus said he needed to grab something. I don't know if he plans on blacking that. Do you think it should be blacked, man?
No.
I
Wait,
think
no?
it's a good idea to start a discussion, but I don't think it's a full-on theory. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, kind of.
Like, it's a conversation starter, not a, maybe not something for a debate. Because-
Baph, what is this image?
We're gonna get to that in a moment.
Because as far as I can tell, it's just saying it with no real evidence.
Alright. Oh, but what? That's the tunnel, right?
Yeah, are we on that now?
Yeah, Kyo. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. The fucking the haunted tunnel.
Kiyoaki?
It's actually got a T in it. I think it's one of
a
those ones that are deliberately misspelled.
it's
Where's
a
the-
mile long single lane tunnel in rural Japan, and because it's spooky, people assign it a lot of spooky. So much so, the police actually encourage you to find an alternative route at night.
What the police do?
But why?
I think
Well-
Japan has this thing about enforcing public tradition like that.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a few suicides in there, some
Well,
accidental vehicle manslaughters, people have gone missing in there, so it's only natural, I guess.
Yeah, but there's the thing where I don't want to sound too gruesome, but what's that compared to the rest of the tunnel's deaths?
I guess this one is just more symbolically creepy because it's just a single lane tunnel that you can't see into even in broad day.
Mm.
A majority of the Japanese still practice Shintoism to some degree, right?
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that's part of Shintoism, like spirits residing in places like that.
Let me see.
Hmm.
Are we on to the next one yet?
I don't know, Baph. Well, here's the thing. Sinaticus is gone. So here to move us along. So I'll move us along, I suppose.
Mm.
So we have Abyssal Zone time gates.
I looked a lot into this, and I thought I had found a source. Let's see. Let me try to get a comedic screenshot here. We got to cut this part out. Shaking my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I looked a lot into this, and I thought I had found a good source, but I ended up just finding this on Reddit, and I lost all hope.
I don't.
What do you
I
think
don't
about
like
the
it.
Abyssal difficulty? Oh no.
Obviously, it's referring to the Abyssal Zone, which is the
Fire Emblem Heroes.
it's a zone of the ocean that remains in perpetual darkness. I can't find anything relating to time gates, though.
I can't.
Didn't we just do Abyssal Zone microplastic?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Nothing
Hmm.
about time gates, though.
And if you force the search term time gate, it just returns Fire Emblem game guide.
Yeah, so,
So,
I think,
I
as sadly
think-
as it is, as cool of an image it is, I don't think this one has any...
No, I think we can discuss this a little bit, like what it could possibly mean.
Well, got theories?
Well, if it's the Abyssal Zone, it's a pretty isolated part of the world. Like, barely anything happens down there. Well, barely anything's changed since, because there's no sunlight and stuff like that, right?
Time gate, right? That's
Also,
a theory.
time might move differently back down there, because, it depends on how fast you go up, and, like, closer to the center
Yeah.
of the Earth, it'll be slower.
It's like getting closer to a black hole, where someone observing you might see you maybe like slow down until you just completely stop, and then but you keep speeding up. Am I getting those mixed up?
Well, hold on. I'll do a search for Abyssal Zone time dilation. Let's see if there's anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't search the word dilation.
Good luck.
Abyssal
What's
Zone
wrong?
time dilation.
Abyssal and dilation?
Well, I didn't find anything, Lauren, so irregardless.
Hmm.
I didn't find any pictures of Orson, it's fine.
Yikes.
Did we black out the Kyoki tunnel?
Yeah, because there's nothing to it. It's just a spooky area.
Ooh, it's
I like
scary.
spooky.
Well,
Definitely don't black fossils are from the future, because there was some shit behind.
Okay.
I mean, I
Stairway-
understand.
Stairway to Hell, Staffordshire.
Ooh, I like that one.
And that one actually has something behind. Do you want to tell us?
the Crowley thing.
Do you have pictures? Is there pictures of that?
No, I haven't found any pictures. I can
Okay,
try.
then explain it.
Well, a guy.
Go on.
Oh, sorry, Judge Boy. Because I didn't even hear about the Aleister Crowley thing, so just do what you want to.
Some guy suggests that Aleister Crowley actually made a really bad poem called "Stairway to Heaven," which apparently inspired the Led Zeppelin song.
Is
But
that the theory?
I don't. I'm just reading what this guy says. And let's see. Crowley's Boleskine house, which Page purchased, was once a church that burned to the ground with a congregation in it. Nice, huh? There is no stairway to heaven, it's a stairway to hell! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Huh.
That's the
Okay,
only
no,
one.
because what I got was different. So a laborer, I think they say it's a farmer. He was digging around in a field in like the 1700s in Staffordshire, England. He found like a metal plate. Hatch was a large oval iron ring mounted on. The entrance led to tunnels through a staircase. The valley is surrounded on almost all sides by woods. There's apparently like... Oh, hold on. Plowman moved a boulder on the field he was working and discovered a staircase with lamps going into the earth. He walked nearly to the bottom, where he saw a smoke-filled room, burning hot, and the back of an ornate chair with a top hat filled. He left and pushed the boulder back over. Incident was reported in a history of Staffordshire, so it was included in this official academic study of the history of a location. So at least verified in that sense, but it's a source from the 1700s, so maybe it's not that accurate. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Well,
I mean, has no one ever bothered to go back and find it?
well, you'd be
Oh, well,
looking
that's
for
the
a
thing, right?
random folder.
Yeah, in a really large area of land.
I mean, you could look for it, but I doubt many people remember that this is even a thing and live in the area. And have the time and money dedicated to pushing over boulders trying to find it. And who knows, maybe soil accumulation might bury it a few feet deep.
Sadly, you have to buy the book in order to read it. But
Yeah.
that's
Alright. Delano Dolphin Camps.
Got it.
what do you have? This
Well, I'm going to read an excerpt from a 1989 LA Times article.
Okay.
From Pittsboro, North Carolina, management consultant Bill Delano advertises Dolphin Camp, a 7-day, $1,900 swim with dolphins program in the Florida Keys for managers to discover intuitive potential. The dolphin is going to do what it wants to do. This can be a big shock to your ego. They won't go up with a person who is uptight. Quote, mostly they prefer to play with children and women. Anecdotes of those who have been dolphinized often concern telepathy, stories of healing, sudden insight, or a ginger ale feeling of erotic stimulation.
Ginger ale?
What the fuck?
I'd like to interject. My dad actually did go to this place. He just had like 4 days of fun with dolphins, and I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're crazy people.
This is just from an advertisement.
I know, but I actually went there. It was just like a normal dolphin trainer with my dad. That's it.
So, normal dolphin trainers hired by weirdos who think there's a spiritual thing?
Weird.
Yeah,
no. It's just normal dolphin trainer that they're trying to put like a spin on. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we've known in the past dolphin bestiality is pretty popular in zoological settings.
It's dude.
What
What we're saying, Blair,
Is that what you?
I mean,
what we're
it's,
saying,
I'm
Blair,
not
what we're saying,
saying.
Blair, is that your dad probably fucked a dolphin. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
My mom was with him the entire time.
She
I
probably
mean, does that change anything?
She probably booked a dolphin too.
Also, this was the 80s, you know, times have changed, I guess.
Ivan the Terrible Alien Implant.
This one is actually really interesting.
It sounds
There's
interesting.
There's a doctor. I thought it was bullshit originally, but there's a doctor, and he appears to be a real doctor. Although there's not a lot of information on him, he's like cited in a bunch of journals and whatnot. He was trying to reconstruct Ivan the Terrible's face, like from his skull, and he found a small metal plate embedded in the back of his skull that had like mechanisms in it, and the way that the bone had grown over it, it implied that it was in his skull since childhood.
Oh, is there an image of this?
No, I tried to find a good image.
Is there like an official thing that supports what you're saying? Because that's pretty monumental.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an article about it.
You can't just drop on me that he had a brain implant and not show like a BBC article or something.
Right.
Source? Do you have a source on that? I'm asking if you have a source. A scholarly source. A source? Do you have that? Of course you don't. I'm debating a fucking inkwell. I've looked into your 308 pages of history, and I've chosen to believe that you are a fucking inkwell. Goodbye. You're welcome for the dead air filler.
Same discovery was made by anthropologist Dr. Rudolf van Zeehaven. He concluded that the object somehow increased the intellectual abilities of the Tsar, but at the same time caused his periodic uncontrollable fits of anger. Tiny medical object with sharp teeth-like protrusions, which discovered quite accidentally.
Do you think this has any relation to trepanning?
I'm still waiting for this image.
I can't find an image.
I can't either. Moving his hand along the surface of Ivan's skull, felt a small protrusion. To see it better, he took a large magnifying glass and saw something very small and metallic halfway covered by bone tissue. Okay, so it was actually in his head. The device was similar to an electronic chip used in computers or other electronic equipment. When the device was studied closing, using different kinds of techniques and equipment, it appeared to be a miniature transmitter of electric impulses to the brain and the heart. Such impulses emphasized Dr. van Zeehaven that sharply increased the brain's ability to solve the difficult intellectual tasks, but at the same time created various collateral effects that influenced the man's psyche. The layer of bone tissue that had grown around the metallic device was quite noticeable. Still no pictures.
I looked at images and actually got one of Sasquatch, so...
It's coming back.
Was the Tsar Sasquatch?
Ivan the Terrible
So the
Bigfoot?
only source I could find is a book that was published, but it's Ukrainian, which means I can't read it because it's in Ukrainian.
Should we get angry?
I guess we'll keep it. Aurora Borealis auditory effects.
If you want a sample of that, the video should autoplay at 1 minute and 38 seconds. It refers to the sounds that the Northern Lights make, sounds they do make. The mystery is that we don't know how these noises are generated and why the noises are varied. So in the video you hear an example of like a radio trying to find a station, but then other people will claim it makes clapping noises or
It sounds like
or steep thunks. So it makes a variety of sounds which are recorded, but we don't know how or why.
That's fucking crazy. Sounds like glass break.
And these are not amplified. Well, that one might be amplified, but the ones like the claps and the thunks, you can hear those yourself if you are in a quiet area and there's no background noise. Just listen. So it's not like the Song of Saturn where you need like complex computer equipment. You can hear it yourself. Mind you, these lights are about like 2,000 feet in the air. They're really high up, so the fact that you can hear them at all is pretty astounding.
Alright. Confirmed, I guess. Kundalini energy.
Now, what I believe this refers to is that in the body, the Kundalini refers to the column of energy that's in your spine. What I believe this is referring to is the idea that the Earth itself is a Kundalini, which is a column of energy that's localized at a certain location that changes every now and then. The widely acclaimed spirit science claims that the Kundalini used to be localized at Atlantis, but has since moved to Tibet. and has been there ever since. But that very soon it's going to change again to somewhere else.
Okay.
Sort of these areas of high spiritual energy.
If it's energy located in the spine, then is the Earth the spine in that case? Or by spine, is it just meaning it's located in a firmament?
Not sure. RPG insanity training.
Oh, are we there already?
Yes, we are.
Oh dear. I don't judge for your Baph of something on this because I forgot to.
The only thing I can find is Insanity rolling tables, role-playing Insanity and Madness, and some weird leveling system.
What they say on X is that RPG insanity training is a collusion between the Yakuzas and Japanese video game companies to create otaku series. And that's all there is. There's no reply. I don't even. There's nothing. Except for that.
Otaku serial killers?
According to this post, yes. But
That's it. I guess that's it. It's
Or should
not
we
much to
black
go
it
by.
out, or-
I'm blacking it out.
Well, no. I think that has some credence, though, because Yakuza is known to deal with video game companies. That's why they artificially restrict stuff. Scout Nintendo product. So maybe.
Okay, so they have some connections. I don't see how that makes people insane.
Oh,
Hold on. I looked on X, but there's also a poll thread that matches it, so let's see what that is.
Well, you could pretty easily go and it's most RPGs and stuff like that are MMOs and shit like that are based on Skinner box and a bunch of things to make you addicted to it.
So it's more of an addiction than an actual insane.
It's an addiction that could lead to insanity if you keep going with it. I imagine anyone would go insane if you keep playing, I don't know, like Black Desert Online for hours and hours and then.
I would bring up something that is later in the list, but
No looking
because
ahead.
it is, I know, it just seems relevant.
Arnold's true height.
Which
I have this one.
Schwarzenegger.
Well,
Okay.
why is that a controversy?
Tell us all.
The Republicans want to know, that's all.
Because no one knows.
Really? But he's still alive.
One journalist, for example, consulted several sources for inside info and came up with a range of results. The writer's own wife, who had previously met Schwarzenegger at an event, estimated that he was no taller than 5'6", while renowned critic Robert Ebert, when contacted for the sake of the same, also dissed the official number of 6'1". No way, he wrote back. I'd guess 5'10" or 5. Gym trainers of Schwarzenegger say 5'10", but no bigger than 6 foot. While Schwarzenegger's agent says he's 6 foot.
That's really strange.
That just seems like actors being actors and playing up their height for roles.
Yeah.
I agree.
So much so that a website was started with a series of scientists that their sole goal is to find his true height. And they're saying that he's somewhere between 5'9" and 6.
Just get MatPat on it. He can figure out pixels to inches, right?
Yeah, it's just weird. You think someone that's been in the public eye for
I
like
wouldn't trust
20,
the CIA
25 years.
to
Yeah.
tell.
I mean,
Proof.
honestly, I don't think that's.
Proof.
It just seems like an interesting thing to tell your friends rather than an actual conspiracy theory. 'cause,
Sanikov
Oh.
land.
Yeah, one thing, Rube, I wouldn't trust MatPat, especially since he's been co-opted by the CIA.
Oh, you're right. Heck, he's been lying to us. Mario really isn't 6 foot.
What do we have on Sinatikov land?
It's an island in the Arctic Circle, purportedly witnessed by several people in Russia in the 1800s.
Let me look it up.
It's
A lot of
referred to
people
as
claim it to be-
a phantom.
Yeah, a lot of people claim it to be a miraged image of Bennett Island.
Apparently it's a book, but also it's an actual land.
A Baltic German explorer on Russian service, Baron Edward Toll, reported observing the elusive land during an expedition to the new site. In August 1901, the Russian polar bear expedition, also led by Toll, the Russian Arctic Subsaharia, headed across the left-type sea searching for legendary Sinatikov. It was soon blocked by floating pack ice in the New Siberian Island. Attempts to reach Sinatikov land, deemed to be beyond the DeLong Islands, continued in 1902 while the Zarya was trapped in fast. Left the Zarya and traveled south on loose ice floes, would have been an island that vanished forever. Oh.
Hmm. I mean, there isn't much. There isn't much on it per se.
Still,
Doesn't make it less interesting.
we like Lost Lands here on the Iceberg
Yeah, it's
series.
good. I've never really heard of Phantom Islands.
Well, that and
Oh,
Bulgasari is a weird.
Oh, okay.
So Bulgasari is the name of a film produced by North Korea. It's a kaiju film in the style of Godzilla and the other movies, the big little monster. The thing that makes it interesting is that the North Korean government kidnapped a film director who was forced to make the film for Kim Jong-il.
Which film is this? I'm sorry.
Bulgasari.
Now,
Bulgasari?
It's a
Yeah.
cryptid.
it's a cryptid. It's
I'll,
based,
I'll post pics. You can explain it.
it's based on a cryptid that can eat iron.
Oh man.
It's a
But I mean,
Minecraft. It's a Minecraft creature, and it looks like this.
It's got to load for me.
Why won't it load? That's there. That one loaded.
Oh, it's just an elephant dog with scales.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
appeared in Korean documentation for a very long time. With, it's been pretty consistent, design wise ever.
This is the movie version.
Uh-huh.
Bulgasari.
Well, that's the movie. Well,
So then why is it spelled with a B and not a P?
the B
Oh,
is.
by the way, you'll like this, Baph. Jonathan Ross stated that the film was intended by the North Korean government to be a propaganda metaphor for the effects of unchecked capitalism on the power.
Unchecked capitalism is an elephant dog.
Oh god, specifically the staff from Japan's Toho Studios, the creators of Godzilla, participated in creating the film spec. They were tricked into coming as they thought they were filming in China. So they brought a team of people over to do the special effects who just thought they were filming in China, and in fact, it was actually North Korea. I don't even know how that's possible.
God, that must be a nightmare scenario, being trapped in North Korea after being tricked to go.
That's, yeah.
They're forcing you to make a shitty Godzilla.
Yeah. Soviet submarine K-219 lost to nukes.
Thank you, amazing.
K129 was a nuclear sub. Now, the fact that it disappeared isn't really odd by itself. It's the fact that it mysteriously disappeared with 4 other ones the very same month, including an Israeli submarine, a French submarine, and an American submarine. The U.S. Navy spent about a year looking for all 4 boats, but didn't find one. So as a result, K129 and the others were subject to a cover story that the vessels were involved in strip mining, I guess.
That's kind of interesting. I mean,
Let's see. Maybe there's more to this. Hold on. Because now it's linking to a CIA project by the name Azorian. Let's see. So apparently, in relation to this search, Project Azorian came out of it, and it was a cooperative effort by the CIA and the Soviet Navy to create underwater sensory rigs.
Well, those get used nowadays for all kinds of shit. Like, I know the underwater sensory rigs were used for the MH13 search.
Yeah.
Well, that and the Project Azorian was the recovery operation for the wreckage.
Yeah, but it extended beyond the actual recovery mission. It lasted about a month.
Is that why it was so expensive? Because that's the
Yeah.
other thing too, is that they spent so much money trying to recover the wreckage
They spent almost $1 billion.
in like 1968 or something.
Yeah, I'm about to say, $1 billion in 1968 is a big chunk of cash.
But no one seems to be investigating why 3 other boats disappeared alongside of it in like the same month.
And they seem to be sort of not unrelated per se, but
And these aren't really dinky submarines. These are like capital. These are like capital ships, like the crown jewels of navies just disappear.
and they haven't been found, at least to
And then
our
I don't believe it doesn't say they've been found.
golly.
But all these boats had nukes on them, and if they're unaccounted for, I mean, you can see why that would cause some outrage.
Cry. And
Oh, let's see. It sank somewhere near Hawaii. That's interesting.
really? Why Hawaii? Well, I mean, why not Hawaii, rather?
And before we move on, just here's a map of where they think it ended up.
Oh, are we using movie night or?
Both, I guess.
Yeah, we're using the movie night chat, but we're not in the
Fine,
movie
I
night
posted it in
groups.
movie night too. Check it out.
Okay.
That seems like
It's just their charted course.
yeah. It's
I don't know,
not
but
hard,
I'm reminded of the South Africa incident when I think of the.
No, every time I look
Yeah.
at one of these, I instantly think MH 370. But then again, that one's like the weirdest of the weird. So,
I don't know.
Gulf rumors equals San Andreas patch.
Ooh, this could be.
Well, apparently there were lost golfing missions in GTA San Andreas, and there were rumors that they could be accessed with a pad.
Is that it?
Yeah, this one is a joke.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was kind of interested. At first glance, I thought it had to do something with Presidency golf trips. Where it's like there's a hidden resort for the president.
Well, golf rumors is a different thing. I think this is just a joke on the golf rumors idea.
Yeah. Penny Hillsfay.
Phelan?
WTF, man.
Fae, as in fairies. I couldn't find any actual article or any mention of it, even on 4chan. But the best I can think of is that perhaps the Fae ran away from most of England and Scotland into the Pennine Hills, and that is where they reside now. Because that was supposedly part of a legend where they would separate themselves from the new modern Irish. But I can't actually find anything on it.
Alright, I guess I'm just gonna end up blacking that.
Oh, hold on, Fae is in fact a cryptid.
Faye is a cryptid.
Uh-oh.
Except we have other fairies. This is, oh, for fuck's sake, you people are impossible. When we hit season 2 and we go back down, I'm fucking blacking all the cryptids.
Okay.
EM effects on the on humanbody.zip.
Yeah, go download that zip file, please.
Oh.
Did you send a zip file?
Did you
I think
send
I
a
found
zip?
something.
Yeah,
for the pennies. You will find reports of fairies throughout the pennies right up until the 20th century. Like likely Rocky Moor, said to be the home of the goblins and fairies. A doctor named Dixon was walking over the moors towards his home at Milestone when he saw a tribe of fairies dancing in a ring of moonlight on a limestone bridge, long reputed to be the home of the otherworldly creatures.
Alright.
Not very interesting, I suppose, but hey, at least I found a thing.
Alright. Alright. I still can't find the .zip. Did you have it?
Government accidentally releases documents on remote mind control. Activists in Great Northwest, not wacko.
Not wacko.
Based on this headline.
Baph, did you send the zip file?
No.
Here's
Why'd you say to download?
Oh, I think this isn't exactly the most credible news source, but it has an image.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Remember that Redstone Armory documentation on ESP and Psych?
Yeah.
There's a Reddit post apparently about it. Homeland Security accidentally releases records on remote mind control as part of a request for records on Antifa and white supremacist groups.
I blame Operation Paperclip, but in the 50s and 60s, the Army was absolutely obsessed with like esoteric mind control bullshit, and I'm pretty sure
holy
the
shit, I
Nazis
got it!
inspired that much.
I got the zip file.
They had like a legitimate fraternity dedicated to that.
How'd you get it?
Yeah, I dare you to open it on stream.
I did.
Come on, Lindsay.
Can you like send it?
Yeah, hold
Unless
up.
it's completely.
Make sure it's safe before you send it.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
it's safe. Let's see. I'm gonna send it through the Iceberg chat because, reasons. Sorry, Rube, you're gonna have to sit this one out.
Okay. I will just have the image that I have on whatever steamit.com is.
Sinaticus, where'd you find this?
I followed the trail, of things all the way back to the original, source.
Bruh.
Is that cursed?
Yeah.
Hello.
We're doing Iceberg time.
Oh, and by the way, no, I'm not from Chicago.
Which one is? Never mind. Sorry.
You're not from Chicago, but you are a Chiraki.
Oh.
It's a state of mind, not a state of being.
Well, we have our hands on the documentation now, I guess.
So, what's the main sort of purpose?
Post the images.
Yeah, just post some
There are
images
images
that you find
included.
interesting.
Alright, I have to physically extract it. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh my god, just use Windows on.
Just use Windows only.
Cheers.
There's even a GIF.
I had to fucking blur that because I just looked at DMs while I was doing that. Extract here. Unfortunately, I can't show the screen I'm doing this on because I have things I don't want you to see on there.
Oh.
Like MILF BBW.
Shut up. Anyway, here are the images that come accompanied in the folder.
There's two images and a GIF, right?
So, who was the authorship of this report?
It says
You
on
can
the
probably find it if you
PDF,
look at the HTML. Or the,
Californian State Treat Assessment Center.
Software and Electronics and Commune Engineering and Supratic Saha? I don't think that's a name, but it's at the bottom of the bottom image.
24-hour report, 27-hour report, and 96-hour report.
Jeez.
One's for... Let's see. March 22nd, 2017. Others on the 26th of June, same year. Final one's on 5th of September. California, San Diego, National Illinois, Phillip Park man charged with fundraising for ISIS fighters. New York Police Department captures radical cleric operating overseas. West Fargo Police make record drug seizure.
I will be back. Heck.
So, that's EM effects on the human body. It's a physical .zip that Sinaticus now owns. And with that being said, Phobo Monolith.
Hey, God, Nomad would not shut up about this one.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Someone find an image.
Wait, what? Where are we?
Phobos Monolith.
We're on Phobos Monolith.
I think we skipped some...
What the fuck?
Someone changed the image. Oh, I'll be right back.
Sinaticus, did you skip some?
No.
No, nothing was skipped.
Nothing was skipped. We're on Phobos Monolith. Phobos Monolith. So here's an image of it. A very tiny one. Let me see if I can't find a big one.
It's just a big monolith on one of Mars's moons. It's not really... I mean, it's definitely interesting.
Pure conjecture.
We've never been to Phobos, so we can't really corroborate whether or not it's a monolith.
Yeah?
Yeah, what's good?
Well, that's the thing, right, Boson? It's the same as like Skull found on Mars. They just manipulate shadow.
Yeah.
How are they able to manipulate shadows when they're not on Mars?
Because you get a picture from the rover and you manipulate it in Photoshop.
But they're not on Mars. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, but the robot's over.
Weird. Two of these weren't on my picture.
So this one's actually from Coupon. White House Demon Cat.
Oh, you added it, that's why.
It's actually a wiki article as well. The demon cat is the name given to the ghost of a cat which is purported to haunt the government buildings of Washington, D.C. in the United States. The story of the demon cat dates back a few hundred years, with consistent sightings then and now, namely during the inauguration of John F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, and Donald Trump. Security staff occasionally report seeing stray cats on the property, always black. Let's see.
Tomorrow?
It's become it's informal tradition amongst U.S. Capitol security that if you see a black cat on the White House lawn, you get the day off.
Really? Alright.
Yeah, we remember. I remember when we added this. It was because it's aggressively similar to. Tell your mom to go away, dude. What do you
Yeah, I'm just gonna mute him. Just gonna mute him. So.
Alright, we added it because it was aggressively similar to the red ghost that Napoleon and other people of his day reported.
Right. Alright, alright. I can't tell what this next one is. Is this two different ones? Artificial Space Outrage Industry, or is this
No, that's a full title.
Okay.
It's just weirdly spaced.
It's the name of a book, but it focuses on a theory that a generation of neglect causes a how would I word this? Like this desire to create problems out of thin air, and then you have industries that cash in on this, and they create the outrage industry, where making people angry is the best way to make money. E.g., in the book that I made note of, which is arguably a political piece, partisan even, that as early as 2012, a few colleges' campuses had this idea of, you can harness the power of a persecution complex and make something come out of it. Of course, you might be able to blame the later Gamergate incident on such lines of thinking.
Alright.
Yeah. That there is just a conscious effort to harness anger for a business.
Roanoke Colony still exists.
Boson's just gone, I guess.
Yeah, I'm about to say, where's Boson?
I'm sorry, I'm compromised for the.
Get out of the fucking subway and go home, dude. No, so the Roanoke Colony was started in 1584, right?
Yeah.
And it failed mysteriously, right? I can't believe it. Even in an alternate timeline, where the Roanoke Colony succeeded, Virginia is still the first territory. That's so based.
Evidence theories of lost colony. There were no bodies like those that had been left behind in the 1585 colony. As it had been taken down, not destroyed or burned. Indicate distress with the Maltese cross. After being painted, the settlers simply picked it up and left. Governor John White thinks that they might have moved 50 miles into Maine, into the forests of North Carolina. Here's the source.
Alright.
Some people assume they assimilated into friendly Native American tribes.
That seems like... If Jamestown was any indication, the colonials had absolutely no idea what they were doing.
Someone suggests it might be the Lumbee tribe. It's native to North Carolina, yet no certain lineage can be pinned down. Oral history links them to the Roanoke settlers, and this tradition is supported by some of their surnames and the tribe's ability to read and write English. Family names of some of the Roanoke colonists like Dial, Hyatt, and Taylor were shared by Lumbee tribe members as early as 1719. Settlers who were met at them were astonished to find Native Americans that had gray eyes and spoke English. Even within the Lumbee tribe, the veracity of the group's link to Roanoke colonists is in dispute. The Lumbee connection, as it's come to be called, is intriguing. Blah blah blah. Another explanation is that Roanoke settlers fell victim to the Spanish, whose settlement was just down the coast in Florida. John Hopkins, University anthropologist Lee Miller, thinks that they wandered into a political problem with some tribes. I gotta go answer the door real quick.
That's fine. We're gonna move on to Fektish gods anyway.
Hello, sir. You owe money to Social Security Administration. One day, Blairen's tax evasion will go noticed.
It's a book by it's a book by Bruno Latour, and there's a WordPress article that has a quote by him as a headline. Quote, I made it all up and it came true anyway. It seems to be mostly philosophical, but it sounds like it's also talking about how people revere science to the point of worshipping it, in a way.
It's almost like the new gods, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a suggestion that some people might acknowledge that there's certain forces that they can't necessarily, or rather that they're motivated by, and I'm assuming that why it's on the iceberg is because of that particular force, which in this case might be some unknown force that's causing people to dedicate their lives to science and worshiping it as a god.
Yes, yes.
But I don't think that there's any actual article that is going with that particular theory.
Yes, I can read.
Okay, thank you, Selma. Milkwalkers.
Okay, now Milkwalker refers to. Well, if you look in movie night, there's the enemy. It refers to this image of a milk carton that surfaced on the and became a bit of a meme.
Is this a meme entry? This looks like a meme entry.
Well, it is kind of a meme entry, but also the mysterious origins of this character on the milk carton. It's a bit icebergy. I mean, where did this come from? No one knows.
It just seems like a weird and out of place thing to say or to do.
Well, not really. 1980s, 1990s milk cartons were known for spreading child-friendly messages.
Maybe the milk walkers take that information from your head, and that's why they want you to remember it.
Maybe. I know you.
Wait.
Amazing. Oh, shit. Alright, we'll keep it. The Mount Stromboli mystery.
It's not really a mystery. I mean, I guess if you're a geologist, it might be a mystery, but it's a volcano in Italy that's always on fire, no matter what. It's always erupting, all the time. It's never stopped.
I mean, it is a mystery to geologists, isn't it?
However, that being said, that's a 4.5 out of 5 on Yelp, and you can visit there for only $112.
That's pretty nice. Oh, boy, Mew, I have a question. Are you actually a writer?
Yes, Mew's actually a writer.
Did it get accepted?
Politics equals LARP.
Politics is...
Found a PDF.
Okay.
Well, judging by the strict definition of LARP as live-action roleplay, that's kind of what politics is, isn't it?
I mean, you're not wrong.
I found this.
has got a long sideways. This makes me very angry. The game.
Art poem 1905. Rewriting Russian history.
I saw Jews. I saw the word Jew somewhere in here. There we go. The Jews.
You found Jews?
I found him.
There's 4 results. 4 results for the word Jew.
Yep. That's all I need to black this. Just kidding.
This is an extensive PDF. I think we might need to keep this just because this PDF is such a huge. Holy fuck.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this. I think what it really means is that, like, politics are fake, and that everything is predetermined already, and that people are just, like, you know, pretending to do things in Parliament and stuff.
That's not quite how I interpret it. When they say politics or a LARP, the people who participate are not necessarily interested in what they're saying, but it's just this group activity that it's easy to get, like, locked into. It's really fun for them. It's you're role playing as a politician, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. It's just fun. It's like this involuntary thing.
I suppose that is so.
Baka alignment.
No, I think this refers to, like, monuments on the moon or something. The link I had for it is dead. Like, there's. I'll see if it works for you. Like if you. Hello, Sinaticus.
Yeah, I clicked on
See
it.
if that link works.
Yikes, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Baka and Common Core. Oh, that's quite a lead.
I'm gonna save this PDF. And get back to a, Here we go. I guess we can't investigate this one. We'll keep it for now, just in case.
Wait, which one? What is it?
A Baka alignment.
Baka
You know
alignment.
something?
Sounds familiar, but I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
The only thing I can find is that it was mentioned in an iceberg one time.
Maybe it's one of those iceberg myths. Because, like, you know, we've actually ran into those where it's like a thing that was, like, never a thing, but it was mentioned on an iceberg.
Alright.
Maybe it's about anime.
So. The one after that would be Gigamesh.
Okay, so Gigamesh is a Minneapolis-based American 3-time multi-platinum selling music producer and DJ. Gigamesh is most recognized for having produced Mike Posner's multi-platinum selling track Cooler Than Me, as well as the remix of Foster the People's single Pumped Up Kicks. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh boy.
This sounds wonderful.
This has something to do with, like, shootings or something?
I think it's about the culture around school shooters, because there are actually lots of fan art about Eric and Dylan, the original Columbine shooters.
So what was the conspiracy again?
I don't think there is one.
I don't think
Did
there
that
is
get
one.
you?
I'm sorry, what coupon?
No, never mind. Sorry.
Alright. I guess we're just gonna move on. Jesus converted on the cross.
Isn't that a Muslim
I thought
myth?
that'd be something you'd know.
Wasn't
It
that
is.
a Muslim myth?
It could be the one I'm confusing it with. Hold up. Cross, just to make sure I'm identifying it with the correct theory.
Oh, I can't zoom in on the iceberg. This is so sad. I need
So
more zoom.
I'm not gonna find. I googled it directly and can't find anything, so I'm just gonna assume I'm correct. The Jesus converted on the cross idea is a theological doctrine that states that before his crucifixion, Jesus was Jewish. When he got crucified, he converted to Christianity.
How does that work?
That seems weird.
I don't think I have to explain to you why this is just such a retarded theory.
I'm confused. Why does that? I feel like it was like made up by some fucking Christians who just hate Jews.
Well, it could also be referring to the thief on the cross. Because, again, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus, gave the thief pardon and said that he'd secure a space for him in the afterlife. So the theory could be that he converted the thief on the cross as well, but...
Sounds like it was some sort of... It sounds like someone said, oh, wait, Jesus is Jewish, but while he founded the later Christian movement, he wasn't actually a part of it, I guess? A member?
Like I said,
Maybe that's what they're going for?
It's a pretty, it's a theory with basically no grounding to it. I'm just gonna black that. Eyes on Christ, Limpias.
This sounds familiar to me. Fuck.
Looking. Miracles of the Church, Miraculous Crucifix of Limpias. That might be it. Oh. Jesus Christ comes alive on the cross. The eyes of Jesus on the crucifix miraculously come alive. Okay, so there's... looks like a carving. Here, here's the source. One day in the month of August 1914, I went into the parish of Limpias by order of my friend, Gregario Bringas, to fix the electric light over the high altar. In order to be able to work more comfortably, I put two large cases on the altar, and on them a ladder, the ends of which I leaned against the wall that serves as a background to the figure of the crucified one. After I had worked for 2 hours in order to rest myself a little, I began to clean the figure so that it could be seen more clearly. My head was on a level with the head of the Christ, and at a distance of only a couple of feet from it. It was a lovely day, and through the window in the sanctuary, a flood of light streamed into the church and lit up the whole altar. As I was gazing at the crucifix with closest attention, I noticed with astonishment that our Lord's eyes were gradually closing, and for 5 minutes I saw them quite closed. Overwhelmed with fright at such an unexpected spectacle, I could still hardly believe what I saw and was about to come down from the ladder. My strength
So he
failed me.
saw the eyes of the statue of Jesus.
Yeah, that's the idea.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of like one of those unsubstantiated claims. It's just the person claiming it without anything.
Jesus wants. Oh, yeah, no, there's multiple instances of them saying it happened.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe just a couple. All of it seems to be in. Wait. Yeah, no, it's all in, like, the early 1910s. And one time in 1919.
Alright, well. Olivia Munn, Rising Bog Siren.
Okay, in this instance, Bog refers to the Bognathos because he is an image of Olivia Munn. So the claim is that she's slowly ascending to become a Bognathos. As time goes.
Where's
Alright.
the siren part come in?
I don't know. I guess maybe they think that she's just a siren. I guess we'll keep it. JBR killed by a raccoon.
JBR, and that is John Benet Ramsey. You know John Benet Ramsey.
Refresh me for the audience. Boson.
It's just.
You cut out, man.
It's a really a strange case. I'd have to.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
the child.
It looks like some rabbit hole shit.
Season 2?
Oh, yeah.
Patricia Ramsey, child beauty queen who was killed in her family's home.
Yeah.
Over that before.
Oh, we have, but the main thing with it is that the theory here is that she was actually killed by raccoons and not by any people.
Must be a shit way to die.
I guess we'll have to keep it for season 2. Koshkoten Pygmy Burial Ground.
Oh, that's.
Wait, what Pygmy burial grounds?
Koshokten.
Cherokee
C over K.
'76 New York Times article describes numerous graves covered in Tennessee that contain skeletons of pygmies. Initially, the remains were thought to be those of children. However, later examinations revealed that this is probably not the case. The history of geography of the Mississippi Valley. Cherokee legend does contain stories of little people known as Yunwi Zunsti, considered to be wonder workers. They spent much of their time drumming and dancing. Sound a lot like leprechauns. Think about it.
American leprechauns.
Every culture recorded an instance of tiny people, yet they never
Magical.
existed.
Maybe because people hate tiny people.
How
Oh,
bizarre.
here we go, actual Ohio. The following was extracted from Centennial History of Coshocton County, Ohio. The long rows of graves of the pygmy race at Coshocton were regularly arranged with heads to the west, a circumstance which has given rise to the theory that these people were sun worshippers, facing the daily approach of the sun, god over the eastern hills. In this respect, however, there is no resemblance to the various positions of the skeletons found in our mounds. Acceptance of the sun worship surmise does not necessarily imply a deduction that this pygmy race may have descended from the river people of Indostan or Egypt. Primeval man, wherever found, seems to have been a sun worshipper. The iron nails mentioned by Hildreth, found in this ancient cemetery, takes on added interest in view of the discovery in a mound near Cincinnati reported by Frederick W. Putnam, curator of the Peabody Museum. Masses of meteoric iron were found on an altar with bars of iron and other objects made from the metal.
Going a long stream of non-blacks here, but I think it's gonna end. Kanye Quest 3030.
Now, we might have covered this before, and if we did, I feel incredibly dumb. While yes, it is a obscure fan game released on the internet in RPG Maker about Kanye West, there is some shit wrong with it. Now, if you'll direct your attention to moving...
You keep on cutting it out, unfortunately.
Is it that?
I mean,
You sound fine, just hold your mic on.
yeah.
Oh, okay, well... it's an RPG Maker game released on the internet about Kanye West, which is kind of dumb, but there's something wrong with it. So, if you direct your attention to moving out, I posted an image. Very early in the game, you come across this NPC, which asks you, what do you want to do? And it prompts you to give them a 6-letter response. You can type in whatever you want, and it'll give like an automatic response. But if you type the word ascend, you get a secret ending. In which it tells you that you're being part of a cult now or something. You can't tell anybody about what's about to happen. And then you play as a butterfly going through these strange metallic halls solving puzzles and giving
Alright.
and here is a big map of all the levels in that secret ending.
Alright.
Eventually you reach the end and it links you to the Ascension cult, or Ascensionism. Which is a real cult that has a lot of ties in the record industry. There's some events in the game lined up, like their logo, which is the eye with...
So you're saying it's a gaslighting of the cult's existence?
Perhaps, or it might have even been made by the cult as like a recruiting mechanism.
I like that theory. It sounds interesting as fuck.
I'll try to link a full playthrough of the Ascension ending.
Whilst we wait for that, Baph, what's an aeromorph?
You don't want to ask.
I do want to ask.
An aeromorph. How do you not know?
Because I'm not as based in red pilled as everyone else.
It's
Well, I'll link a study real quick. Hold on.
Aramore?
No, hold on. I gotta link a.
it's a living thing that is supposed to also be shaped like an airplane.
Oh,
It sounds like SCP, or no, RPC 666, except the fucking.
So if you go to movie night and you follow this link, it's a comprehensive study by the University of Pittsburgh.
oh no.
That come up as first.
Oh no.
It's not good.
What's actually behind this link?
Wait,
Well, no, aeromorphs are a subset of fetishism. They're anthropomorphic, sexualized air.
Oh,
Wait, what?
may have come across that.
So there's two things to this. One is about living aircraft, and another is furry porn.
Now listen. Who wouldn't want to fuck a BF-109, okay?
Alright, so living dinosaurs were common knowledge in the old American West.
now before you go too far with that, I do have... Oh, hold on. Fuck, hold on one second.
Ascension ending?
Yeah, I do, hold on.
Oh my god, it's fucking raining outside.
Here,
Gotta protect yourself.
10 minute 45-second speed run of the secret cult.
10 minutes. Oy, oy, oy.
You could just like skip through it a little bit, get to the good part.
Hey, I'm gonna.
Thanks for bumping it, Judge. I really appreciate it.
What? You can still see it.
One more try. Gonna be better this time. There
I regret
is
looking up
actually no.
Aeromorph in my fucking Google search.
Now it's there forever.
So,
Alright, so where are we? Hold on.
Living dinosaurs in the
Cool.
I know you've been not paying attention because you've been talking on way where
I don't even see living
that
dinosaurs.
you could try to participate.
This one should be
Hold
idle
on. Oh wait, shit. I'm way up here.
and loot.
Oh, okay. I'll look up Reverend Dodge.
I mean, what do you mean by living dinosaurs? Like Komodo dragon? Or are we talking about like something even cooler?
I think it means actual dinosaurs.
I mean, a Komodo dragon is
Sending
very similar to a
pyramid
dinosaur.
done. Okay, Micropia.
Problem is that
Let's
you
go.
can't have
Or is
living
it
dinosaurs
it's
nowadays
again in this
because
corner?
the oxygen content of the atmosphere just isn't high enough for their their adaptations to be viable.
Hey.
In the southwestern United States, especially the rural Four Corners
Mao.
region, comprise the southwestern corner of Colorado, southeastern corner of Utah,
Thank you, A.
eastern corner of Arizona, and the northwestern corner of New Mexico. There have been
Okay.
long reports of dinosaurian beasts roaming about the Badlands here, apparently very much alive and well. Go back to the frontier Wild West days of cowboys and Indians. Among some of the most talked about and famous of the dinosaurs of the West are the various large pterodactyl-type creatures said to have been sighted throughout the 1800s and beyond, and which were already known to the native peoples of the region as thunderbirds. Oh, it's coming back.
Is someone say Thunderbird?
Sounds like some sort of air show, doesn't it?
Tombstone, Arizona, apparently. Apparently I might have seen
Yes.
Tombstone epitaph of April 26, 1890 included a case of a rather curious incident. No, it's just the Thunderbird. It says that a bunch of farmers saw a huge ancient creature, two rangers, in the desert region. Whetstone and Huachuca. I said that wrong, mountains.
Can you repeat that?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna have to mute him. I'm not buying it, to be perfectly honest.
You don't think?
No, I don't. There would surely be some form of evidence at this rate.
I think I found the photoshopped image.
Gianni Cavioli of Ravina. Unfortunately, I can't black the fucking dinosaur one, otherwise Boson will have us work out.
I mean, it's not. I guess you can count that as not cryptid if you really want to. I won't get too mad about that.
Yeah, we're blacking that one. So who is this Giovanni of Ravenna?
Giovanni of Indiana, huh?
Ravenna.
Revian. I have no idea.
Ooh, what's this? Father Giovanni Olive Inca, St. Thomas, Common Doctor, Metaphysics and Chastity. Although it may not appear entirely. Wait, what's this translated from? Oh, it's Italian.
I actually pronounced it's Gianni. My bad. Yeah, that's not it.
Then there are the false metaphysicians, like the idealists who remove metaphysics, as we shall see. The Supreme Pontiff as Vicar of Christ. Is there an about page, anyone? Notice to readers. It is possible that some of my articles which I publish here have already been published elsewhere, in which case I ask to be warned in order to indicate the link and other reference.
Right. We're just gonna move on. Reverend Dodge.
See, this is most certainly referring to David Stewart Dodge, the founder of the Syrian Protestant College in Beirut, and one of the founding members, I think, of the Dodge Motor Company. They give him a bio, but I don't see anything odd about it. I really don't. I don't know why he's on the list.
You don't know? Like, there's nothing.
I mean, unless you have something to back this up, I'm not seeing any oddities about.
I guess it's a big old nothing burger.
I guess so.
Phantasms... fucking damn it. Phantasms of the Living.
Anything on that one, Judge Boy? I'm looking.
Nothing yet.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hey,
We're
Dad.
doing an iceberg.
I'll be quiet then.
Is it like a puzzle?
Wait, the first thing that came up was Frederick W.H. Myers. Oh, it was redirected from it. Phantasms of the Living. Myers was the co-author of the two-volume Phantasms of the Living, 1886, with Gurney and Frank Podmore, which documented alleged sightings of apparitions. Myers wrote an introduction and concluding chapter. Two volumes consist of 701 cases of alleged spontaneous apparitional communications. Also explored telepathic theory. Psychical researcher Thomas Walker Mitchell commented the chief aim of the book was to produce cumulative quasi-statistical proof of telepathy. Some scholars criticized the book for its lack of written testimony and time elapsed between the occurrence and the report of it. Strong attack on the book was made by physiologist William Barry Prayer. Possible natural explanation includes unconscious exaggeration, the faculty of remembering what is striking, forgetting what is not, illusions of sense, mistakes of memory, impressions left by dreams, and finally deceit and trickery, whether intentional or unconscious.
Alright.
So it's a book that may or may not be true.
Well, okay.
I guess we'll keep it. Wonigeromancy.
Let's see. Boson?
I think we did this one. Hold on. Oh yeah, that's right. Oneiromancy's dream interpretation.
Oh. Alright, because the...
Yeah, I completely mind blanked on that one. I should have known that. And yeah, I mean, it's specifically the practice of trying to predict the future through dreams, which on some level sounds completely absurd, but on the other hand, dreams have had a lot of influence on things that ended up being true. Of course, one of the biggest ones is Niels Bohr. His model of the atom came to him in a dream, and it turned out to be true.
Oh yeah, I remember that. There have been many cases of great scientific discoveries coming to people in dreams, and then they investigate it and like, wow, I was right.
Eureka moments.
Which is very questionable because that implies atomic science basically came by pure chance.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it imply that it
I
is
heard
a chance?
Let me interject for a second. I heard a theory that they were on the cusp of discovering it, and their brain just puts it together in weird ways in the dreams. Yeah,
Okay.
that's possible as well.
What the fuck do you think this is? The Reasonable Thinking Podcast? Get the fuck out of here.
Boy voice. Wait.
Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
The next one's funny.
Oh god, oh no.
Bug chasing.
no.
See, this is a biological phenomenon
It's
in which, well, actually, it's more of a psychological phenomenon in which one or more STD affected parties derives pleasure out of the act of infection.
Oh dear, that's. Oh boy.
So you can find people like this out in the wild. If maybe you've ever been on Twitter and someone has a radioactive emoji next to their name, well, that means they're into pausing or bug.
I mean, they either want to infect or get infected.
Correct, yes. It has a pretty significant following. Well, I wouldn't say significant, but a pretty dedicated and fairly consistent following. There's a lot of fetish material written on it, which it makes you wonder what has to happen in the mind for you to willingly succumb to disease and derive pleasure.
The cool thing about that fetish is that all the people who follow it will be dead in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even less.
But I think like the people who are infected want to like, I suppose, feel like they're part of like a group and don't want to like feel isolated.
And I would offer up that this phenomenon is very recent. Like, because you can treat HIV, not cure it, but treat it, to them it would seem less consequential, and it's a badge of honor. It shows that you're dedicated.
Yeah.
I fucked a man.
I have to take pills, or else I'm gonna shrivel up and die, but it was worth it.
I have to take these
Now I can
supplements,
put
or else
this
I'm going to
radioactive
shrivel up
supplements
with my bones.
That being said, everyone here understands how HIV works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you vulnerable to head colds, and you just die.
You just die. You just die.
Just fucking die. It's really weird, dude. You just suddenly stop breathing.
That's what bug chasing is. It's as the name implies. And it doesn't have to be HIV, I guess. It can be any sickness, but HIV is the most popular.
Oh, sorry, is my microphone, I feel like it's getting feedback. Sorry.
So, Trevor Silverwood postcards.
Oh, you gotta post these, whoever gets them. I'll try to find images, but the story is of this MP in England in 1977. He started receiving these postcards from anonymous senders, posted from all over the world. It would include things like the color socks he wore on a certain day, what he had for breakfast, even details about his daily activity around town. Made him feel like he was being stalked by some unseen entity. They were signed with a stick figure, one used by the character the Saint. Let me see if I can find it. I can't seem to find an image of the postcards themselves, which sucks. But it sounds very similar to a lot of other stories we covered, like the phone mafia, the guy who got kidnapped.
Let's see here.
Just to put it in wrong, I keep getting amusement park rides.
Have we done anything on 9/11 yet?
Several.
Did we talk about Tower?
We don't look ahead.
Oh, all right.
We'll get there when we get. Are we there yet?
Anyone found any of these postcards?
Boson?
You cut out. What did you say?
Do you have the pics
postcards.
or something?
I said I couldn't find them.
Oh. Well, that kind of destroys the validity, doesn't it?
It does. but
How strange. I go to images and I can't find it.
Maybe you kept them private or something and just reported it to the police?
it would appear, according to Britain, there was Trevor Silverwood who was an MP in 1977, but most of the sources on the whole postcard thing come from this forum.
Oh, was it the Unexplained Mysteries?
Yeah.
They have their own little... I think they have some writing projects on their own, too. Moving on, who wants to look up the next one?
The 1981 Dream Virus?
No, the...
No, sadly we have a couple more before that one. The next one is, of course, sea serpents are whale.
Ah.
The old Nessie was actually a whale.
The full Nessie.
Old Nessie.
I guess I'll take one for the team and Google this one, because I didn't find anything on it.
I'll let Sinaticus do the next one.
I could do the next one as well.
No, I think Sinaticus should do it.
Library of Baph. Oh, we'll...
Alright, hold on, I gotta reactivate the fire here. Sorry guys, I forgot to collect enough wood. There we go. Selma, do me a favor, blow on our fire, please. Awesome, thank you.
We should afford a Velos. Come on, we don't need to do this.
Oh shit. I mistook with the next one, man.
Oh yeah, you did.
I thought they said the Tower of Babel.
No, it's Library of Babel, but
I was obsessed with that book for the longest time.
So did you find nothing on the full...
Oh, I have a photo. If I can post it, I don't know that if I should.
Just post it in Iceberg HQ.
Okay. One moment. Well, the theory purports that the story of Cetus, the most famous sea serpent from Greek mythology, that the sighting of it may have been the sighting, actually, of a whale penis, specifically a baleen whale penis, which are extremely long, as seen here. And,
Yeah, if you see,
in
actually,
Iceberg chat.
see beach whales. Sometimes you can see it. It's fucking huge.
Yeah, they have very large snake-like penises. So it's...
I'm not buying this.
No?
No, and I have good reason not to. I don't think it's here on the iceberg, but there's a giant skeleton in Saudi Arabia of a sea serpent, and it most certainly ain't a whale penis.
Maybe
Just a really
Whales
big
are
whale.
actually chimeras. That would be scary. Actually, I don't want to think about this anymore. Let's go on.
Library of Babel.
Also known as Monkeys on Typewriters Architecture Edition.
Yeah. Well, there's more to it, but explain it.
Yeah. So the gist of the Library of Babel, it's obviously fictional. Hey Selma, can you you're echoing me. It's a component of it's a fictional structure detailed in a book, a short story about an endless library complex, and the gist of the story is that each book It's a completely random series of letters. But because the library is, endless, you will inevitably find a book that contains all knowledge possible, every variation of that knowledge, and every slightly erroneous version of that knowledge possible. It's a story of people trying to find their way out. There's a cult that believes that there's one book that has directions on the way out. But it's not much about the story, it's the thought experiment of infinite possibility.
Speaking of, it has been recreated online, the website version of the Library of Babel. As you can see here at this link, it's just one of the many pages. Except one of the biggest features of the Library of Babel,
I posted pictures on voice by accident.
Is the search. You can search for certain strings of text in the library, and it will give you the page number, the book, the shelf number, and the hex number.
Yeah, and it'll be right every time. Like, if I was to look up that code, I would find that text without insert.
You were reading volume 18 on shelf 3 of wall 1 of Hexagon.
So it is written somewhere in this library that Blairin is gay, and every possible variation of that.
Yeah, it also contains the very cliche thing where it's like the date you die, the name of your future wife, and the name of all your grandchildren.
Somewhere in this library is a one-to-one accurate biography of you. You just have to.
Is there an accurate description of how Edgar Allan Poe died?
Probably, yeah.
If there's infinite possibilities, then the answer to all these questions is yes.
But where I find the most intrigue is in the Babel Image Archives, which takes this theory of text and applies it to images. Wherein in this website, link it here. They have every possible color pixel combination in I think it's 640 by 416 in it. So every 640 by 416 12-bit color image exists on this website. Images that have been taken haven't been taken.
So
if you took a picture of yourself right now, that image is already on this website. Yes.
All right. So if this has every conceivable piece of human knowledge and every variation of it, wouldn't that mean that it has a book containing every piece of information in that compound?
Yeah, because they're all the same length. So
couldn't it be in part 1, part 2?
Yeah, that's possible.
Wouldn't that be infinitely regressive though?
It would be, which is why that's not. I'm not sure what you mean by that, really, Chris.
Yeah, I forgot to lay out the guidelines. The books have a character limit. They can only use A through Z, and I think a couple of numbers.
So I mean,
no numbers, only.
So I mean, if the library had a book about the library, there would be literally infinite books.
Yeah.
It isn't actually literally infinite. It only contains every possible combination of that many letters.
Right. I think in the story, someone finds a book that's like almost exactly what they need, but at the end, it's just like jibber jabber. It messes up at the end, so they think the book is useless and they kill themselves. But since the library is endless, they just keep falling.
If you read volume 21 on shelf 4 of wall 2 of Hexagon, you'll find Phantasms of Living. Not the actual book, just the phrase.
Hold
To
up
think that everything possible within the iceberg has information somewhere here in the library.
In the library, they're probably talking about the dialogue.
The answers as to what happened to Elisa
library-
Lamb are in this library somewhere.
The library has a book detailing why Bodhi is superior and a maximally great being.
The books don't have spaces, though, do they?
They do.
They do, yeah.
I've been browsing it for quite some time.
Also, by the way, here's a link if you look in Movie Night to where in the Library of Babel Image Archive the transparent monkey image is. Gloop that. that image of the transparent monkey has been on the Babel image archive since it was created. It already exists
Well, I don't think you put it in there, Boson.
before
I can't see
before
it.
you made it.
I didn't make that image. Angela made that image, I think. Wait, which transparent monkey? The one that Scalyfoot keeps busting?
Yeah.
Oh no, he made that.
Oh well, shit. The image search isn't working. But regardless, that image was already on the archive before anybody made it.
It's just a funny image.
Well, I'm using it as an. You know what? Never
1981
mind.
I
Dream
understand,
virus.
Anyone have anything on?
No.
No, nothing came up for that.
Which is sad because it was the one I was looking forward to, or one of the ones I was looking forward to the most. But I do have a crackpot theory. Now, there's no info on it whatsoever, any around the internet, but it's an idea I had. 1981 was the year that AIDS or HIV was first identified by the CDC. So perhaps the 1981 dream virus is HIV.
So what? It jumped out from some anthropologist's head into some gay guy's crotch?
I don't have the specifics on it, but I feel like that's a possibility, because these icebergs, they get crazy, but
Well,
I don't
funny
know.
you should mention that, because when I looked that up, the President's Dream Colloquium on HIV/AIDS came up, but I don't think it's quite what we're looking for.
Where is it?
Here. It's a movie night.
God, he's dying.
I don't... I think you might have some credence with that, but I can't actually find anything with dream virus beyond that. Actually...
Alright, next one is Zug Island.
Ooh. This one's great.
Yeah, you post some images, Baph, because the images are quite stuff.
This one's RPC material right here.
Oh god, fucking.
I'll post 3 before I start.
inspiration.
Saga Island is a deserted location in Detroit. Served as a steel mill for the automotive companies in the 20s through the 60s. Today, it is a unlikely habitat for peregrine falcons and foxes. Of course, the mystery here is that residents that live near it, within an earshot of it, report a lot of noise from this area. A lot of clanking, according to this article, swooshing noises, and just general auditory oddities. And of course, you can go to this place and you'll find nothing but foxes and industrial decay. But it makes noise all the time.
Alright. Martian rover voice recordings.
It's tea time.
NASA releases first ever audio recording from Mars. First sounds of Martian wind.
Okay, I got it. Oh, you talking about the voice recordings? Yeah, they're complete. Like, honestly, they're just utter bullshit.
Okay, cool. So, fucking piece of guy. Hey, Kiris, remove Kirby's DJ, please.
What did you say?
Remove Kirby's DJ temporarily, please.
Sure.
Anyway, do you have the recordings, Boson?
You can find them on YouTube, but I honestly, they're just such a. It's literally like a single group of people say that they received the transmission from the rover, and only they did, not NASA. And then they had the recordings, and it's just like a distorted talking over like generic glitch sounds. It's so bad. I don't know why anyone. I don't normally do this, but this one is just.
This one's just... You cut out there, bud.
How much did you hear?
This one is just...
Really? You didn't hear any of that?
Nope.
It's just... It's It's complete bullshit.
Just.
Okay.
It's the meme.
God.
Okay. Why Rachel isn't buried in her grave?
This refers to the Jewish matriarch Rachel, so maybe you have some insight on this one.
Last I checked, she is in her grave, so...
Yeah, Sinaticus checks.
Well, according to the Iceberg sheet.
I mean...
Hold on, let me read something.
Rachel's tomb is a literal location you can go and visit. So, like I said, last I checked, she most
Hold
certainly
on,
is there.
I gotta read something here. Hold on. Oh, it's the name of a book. Oh, never mind. It doesn't have anything to do with Jewish Rachel.
I was about to say, I think I
It's the
know
name
if
of-
one of the matriarchs were gone.
If it's not the matriarch, but if it's some random woman.
It's on Duke University. I have to fucking buy it to people.
Oh.
Longbow's and chilling a few bucks. Come on, it's your duty.
See if I-
Alright, well since it's behind a paywall, I guess we're not gonna be...
I'm looking for it. I guess you can move on.
Okay. ICBM black budgets.
Black budget.
Baph, that sounds like...
Yeah, because I posted a chart in movie night. It got bumped, but that's just a visual reference, if anything. A black budget is a government budget that is allocated for secret operations. Account expenses related to such are classified for security reasons and can be complicated to calculate. But in the United States, it has been estimated to be over $50 billion a year in unreported expenditure, with this estimate only coming from the Edward Snowden leak.
Like,
Wasn't
MK
that
Ultra,
leak
basically.
actually lacking in a lot of information?
The leak wasn't perfect, but it did detail a number of departments and their undisclosed budgets. For example, The CIA received an additional 14 billion than its publicly acknowledged budget.
See, that's the thing, though. He was a freelancer. I'm not sure if they would let him get that close to budgetary expenses.
Well, no, he was a freelancer, but, well, that's a bit misleading. He was a contractor who had a shit ton of access to their files because he worked very deep in their systems. Snowden is the only reason they started becoming more protective over that data in the first place.
Not to mention they were already protective, though.
No, they're even more protective now. If you read up on like what Snowden did, it makes a lot of sense why he knew what he knew, because he did a lot of data management for them.
It's a damn hero.
Too bad he was killed.
Edward
He's not dead.
Snowden? He's alive. He's in Russia. North Korea utopia.
I really don't believe he's alive.
Isn't he living in Russia? Of course he'd be alive.
Yeah, he's totally there.
Gloop's just shitposting. Anyway, North Korea
not, I don't think he's
utopia.
alive.
North Korea utopia.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
You can look at this literally, in which you could make the claim that North Korea is a ideal model society, or you can look at this metaphorically, where the nature of what North Korea does is the ideal society. The difference being, well, if you're a tanky, starvation's okay. But the idealist is like, North Korea is isolationist, it produces its own equipment, it's self-sufficient. That's a utopian society. They just kind of fucked it up. Just a little bit.
I think what they were trying to say is that people outside of North Korea don't know it's a utopia, and the current leaders within certain government agencies are trying to make sure that you don't know it's a utopia, so you don't immediately try to go to North Korea.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
I think that's what it's trying to say, Baph.
That's the more interesting part.
I mean, I guess? The reason I suggested it was like a metaphorical thing was because it's obviously not literal, because they don't have electricity.
Yeah, they do.
How do you know? Who told you?
I mean, we have access to like pictures that were satellite things that were not taken by government institutions. I mean, there's only so much you can hide.
Oh yeah? Wait, who took the who took them? Were they companies? Were they corporations?
You know, this reminds me of when me and my friends were at a museum. There was a little setup with like Google Maps, and me and my friends decided to fuck with it by leaving it at North Korea.
Madam, this Google Maps display doesn't work.
I mean, of course, there are people who would argue it's a utopia as it.
Oh, of course, but they're insane. Yokai museums.
Well, a yokai is
Japanese demon, right?
Japanese demon, spirit, or monster. Although it's usually just a spirit of some sort. Yokai Museum, the art of Japanese. It looks like it's a book. Is it plural? Museums?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not this. Scotty. Oh, wait. Oh, some museums have specific. They just talk about yokai. Okay, and oh, the hell. was a thing. Gonna delete it now. I'm just gonna post this guy's blog about it. It looks like there's an actual museum that has various exhibits on yokai. There's a bunch of art done from long ago, and I guess supposed artifacts of what they actually might be. There's some weird desiccated corpse covered in scales. There's also a mummified hand that people claim to be a kappa, a weird turtle spirit that lives in lakes and rivers, that is also partially human-like.
Based. Take a look at the museum. We'll go to Japan and take a look at the museum. Plane of Eminence.
Alright, I've been trying to get at why Rachel isn't buried in her grave for the last 10 minutes and I haven't found it. So what I might have to do is either buy it. Did you black it, Beth?
I didn't, just because we know it's there, but we can't get to it.
Right, okay. Someone's gonna have to shell out some money when we do season 2, because so many of the things on the Iceberg are fucking behind paywall. Like scholarly articles and books and shit.
Nothing on Plane of Eminence, guys?
Judge Boy, you have anything?
Not yet, I'm still looking around. Why don't we go on to the next one while we're looking this up?
Alright. Sphinx equals ram-headed.
I don't know why they formatted it that way, but it refers to this article I posted in Movie
Is it Daily Mail?
Live Science.
Oh. There's a Daily Mail article about it.
Ram-headed sphinx abandoned by King Tut's grandfather found in Egypt. It's only 11 feet tall.
Alright.
Now they've covered the full body of the sculpture that measures roughly 5 meters long and 3.5 meters tall. The top half of its head, however, has been broken off and appears to have been lost to time. They also found a rough cut sculpture of a coiled cobra that has been carved to the crown of the head of the main sphinx. So it looks like they just had a bunch of different artifacts. About the Plane of Eminence, it's apparent. So now I guess you should probably know it. It's a founding concept in the metaphysics or ontology of French philosopher Gilles Deleuze. Immanence, meaning existing or remaining within, generally offers a relative opposition to transcendence, that which is beyond or outside. Deleuze rejects the idea that life and creation are opposed to death and non-creation. He instead conceives of a plane of immanence that already includes life and death. Deleuze refuses to see deviations, redundancies, destructions, cruelties, or contingency as accidents that befall or lie outside life. Life and death were aspects of desires or the plane of immanence, quoted from See Colebrook, Deleuze, A Guide to the Perplexed, 2006, page 3.
Yeah, I've
This
never read
plane-
his writings, so.
This plane is pure immanence, an unqualified immersion or embeddedness, an immanence which denies transcendence as a real distinction, Cartesian or otherwise. Pure immanence is thus often referred to as a pure plane, an infinite field, or smooth space with substantial or constitutive division. In his final essay entitled Immanence, A Life, Deleuze writes, "It is only when immanence is no longer immanence to anything other than itself that we can speak of a plane of immanence." Did you get anything out of that? I didn't.
I have no idea.
No. No. I'm just going to, go all the way back up to plane of eminence. Qigong brainwashing.
It's a form of like Asian massage therapy or something.
I don't know. Is it?
No, see, I put it in Qigong Brain, and then it auto-completed it with optimization. Oh, this looks sketchy.
It most likely is.
A YouTube video came up. It's a yoga channel.
Yeah, I saw Qigong and yoga in like the same circles when I did my search, so I'm entirely sure where brainwashing comes into it.
Oh, marrow brainwashing Qigong. Oh, it's a cleansing. Qigong, The Secret of Youth, Demosmos. I'm not seeing where the brainwashing comes in either.
That's because it probably doesn't exist.
Oh wait,
Oh,
someone posted a question on Kuara. Quote unquote brainwashing, Tim's discussion board. Out of psycho necessity and cultural brainwashing. Oh. That would actually be something. Oh, there's also another one that I want to check out real quick.
We've gone over vortex math before. If I'm not mistaken, we come to the conclusion that it's bullshit every time.
Well, in case you've forgotten, I've posted a link in movie night. I don't know math, so one of you who do can click.
Vortex math is a pseudo-mathological, vaguely theological pile of nonsense for which some guy.
This is Rational Wiki, so the vitriol is expected.
Yeah, of course. It's the Skeptic Wiki. On his website claims it is the secret to unlocking the universe.
Yeah, no, the brainwashing thing's kaput.
Yeah. In it, he claims to have found free energy, inexhaustible free energy, an end to all disease, production of unlimited food, travel anywhere in the universe, build the ultimate supercomputer, obsolete all existing technology. Yeah. Tokyo tunnels.
Let's see. Alright guys, we have to finish the iceberg tonight. Don't get quiet now.
No, we're not finishing the iceberg tonight.
There's one that I want to get down to, but we're quite far away from it, so I doubt we will.
Well, if we troop it out, we can technically sit here for like 6 hours.
Well, I have a suggestion, right?
Right.
Why don't we take a break, couple hours at most, and reconvene maybe in an hour?
Well, we did try that, and it didn't go so swell, but we can try it again when we feel like taking that break. We've been doing this for 2 hours and 20 minutes, so...
Let's get to the end of this row and take a break.
Yeah, let's get to the end of this row. Tokyo tunnels.
I mean, if we can agree on the break, it should be fine.
Okay.
Oh shit, I forgot. Oh god. Maybe we shouldn't. Because there's a work thing that I was notified of a couple minutes ago that I have to be there at 5:30, and it's going to take a while. And right now it's 4 o'clock. But let's focus on Tokyo tunnels, right?
Yeah. I can't find anything from a basic Google search.
I mean, they look cool. I don't know what the conspiracy is.
What did I miss?
Or on Tokyo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that there's nothing here. Oh?
Yeah, probably.
Hold up. Alright, Tokyo telephone, love good urban legend. Underneath Tokyo is a G-CANS project, a vast infrastructure lurking under Saitama, designed to redirect excess flood water from under the city in case of heavy rains and typhoons. The structure is literally amazing, resembling something like an enormous ancient temple. The location has been used in adverts and as a setting for video games and other media. If exploring an underground megastructure tickles your fancy, I'm told that tour guides are available in Japanese. Semi-myth for hidden tunnels under Japan's capital have also attracted some attention from the media. Pop culture references in the legend include, and are by no means limited to, Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. So I guess the myth is that there are hidden locations underneath the Japanese flood tunnels.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me either. The McDonald's blob.
So the only thing I could find on this one was in, and you can deem the article's validity on your own, but it referred to the McDonald's CEO right before leaving office, made a statement confirming that they make their meat from eaten cow blood that are genetically engineered in Japan to not have any inedible material in them and are basically living meatballs, according to the CEO.
Okay then. That was pretty disturbing. Skycross at Migny.
Well, since Judge Boyan is asleep and Baph is busy arguing politics, I'll take the lead on.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna knock at the door.
So in the commune of Migny, I believe it's in France, in 1825, people at the church witnessed a large luminous cross appear in the sky. This was confirmed by 200 people before it disappeared.
Wait, I have a question about this specific event.
Yeah.
Were people like told that they were going to see it beforehand?
On 17th December 1826, the village of Migny witnesses the appearance of a luminous cross in the sky in front of more than 2,000 people gathered on the occasion of planting a cross in the village. Standing up 50 meters above the ground, lying in the direction of the west, about 40 yards in length, it was visible from 17 to 17. Oh, that. His presence was predicted. This is strange. But they were gathered in town to plant like a cross near their church, and a bigger one that was glowing appeared in the sky, and they also. Not a lot of info on this one, which is surprising.
I think I can. I might be able to explain this.
How so?
Well, there was something sort of like this, but people were told beforehand it was going to happen. Like it was some sort of prophecy. I'm just trying to think of what it's called. Oh yes, it's like mass hysteria. It's like an actual sort of psychological disease, where like if a lot of people start like say like doing some sort of action or seeing something, other people could believe them. It may even spread, which is why it's classified as a disease. I think it's like called mass psychogenic illness or something like that.
But I just don't understand how that would cause people to see a giant cross in this.
Yeah,
Like,
I've never bought into the idea of mass psychogenic illness. I mean, that just sounds like the scientific equivalent of excuse making.
No, it does happen. It did happen on a few occasions.
It's like when people try and explain the dancing plague. They're just like, oh well, you know, everyone suddenly just had mass hysteria.
Yeah, it like becomes a new hip new thing, and you just join in.
To the point where you dance till you die?
Yep.
Well, you have more faith than I do, friend.
You have to have faith to see faith.
And with that,
no.
I think we're done for now. Are we?
Sure, yeah, we can. Just letting you know, after 5:30, I won't be available for a while. We probably.